Ready to go.
Welcome everyone. Welcome to those present at the meeting today and watching online. And thank you for coming today. So just going to get the affirmation to be read by Councillor Jack Blake. So if we'd all just like to stand for the affirmation.
We recognise the traditional owners of the land. We are inspired by the early pioneers and by those who gave their lives for our country. We now ask God's blessing on our deliberation and on our commitment to build a better lifestyle and environment.
Thank you. This council meeting is being recorded and live streamed to Council's YouTube channel. The recording will also be made available on Council's website. Whilst all care has been taken to ensure that your privacy is maintained, please be aware that your presence may be recorded. And just anyone that has phones, just if you could just pop them on silence, please. So we now go into our number one, apologies. So do we have any apologies for today's meeting?
Mayor, this is not an apology, but it is a request for a leave of absence. I would like to request of Council a leave of absence from the 1st of May to the 18th of June inclusive. The purpose of the absence is that I will be travelling to Europe for my son's wedding, and while I am comfortable to keep up with council business through email, etc., I feel that with time difference and commitments I will be unable to be present even online for council meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd move that Councillor Greenberger's application for leave of absence be granted.
Thank you, Councillor Emerson. Do I have a seconder?
Yes, Councillor Blake, I'll second that.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Blake. I'll just have a show of hands in favour. That's carried. So item 2, we have confirmation of minutes. So I just need somebody, there's a resolution just to move that, the minutes as listed, copies of which have been circulated, be confirmed and adopted. So confirmation of minutes.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'm happy to move that the confirmation of the minutes, they appear to be an accurate record.
Thank you, Councillor Emerson. Do I have somebody to second?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, I'll second it.
Thank you, Councillor Blake. So just, can I just have a show of hands, those that are in favour? Okay, so that is carried. So are there any matters arising from the minutes? No matters arising from the minutes. There's no presentations or awards. There's no presentation of petitions and joint letters. So we just have next item is disclosure of conflict of interest at a council meeting. So just if any councillor wishes to declare a conflict of interest in a matter being considered today, they would please do so. No conflict of interest. Our next item is number 7, informal meetings of councillors. Just have somebody to move the resolution.
Happy to move the resolution in regard to the informal council meeting to be noted.
Thank you, Councillor Emerson. Have somebody to second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, thank you, Councillor Probes. Councillor Emerson, did you wish to speak to the item?
No, nothing to say on that item.
Councillor Probes, did you wish to say anything? No, any councillor wish to talk to that particular agenda item? Just a show of hands, those in favour? Okay, that is carried. So go to... sorry, are there any items to be brought forward in the agenda? No items? Thank you. So we move into consideration of reports of officers. So 9.4, improve organisational effectiveness. And there's a report with this recommendation. So somebody, is anyone happy to move that recommendation?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to move that the council surrenders the existing lease for 115 to 119 Grampians Road, Halls Gap, with the Beer Idea Proprietary Limited, trading as Paper Scissors Rocks Brew Company, and grant a new lease to include the additional proposed area in the lease to ensure compliance with the Liquor Control Victoria licensing requirements.
Thank you. Has somebody second that motion?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to second that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Hine. So, Councillor Greenberger, if you'd like to speak to the motion.
Yes, Mayor. Paper Scissors Rocks Beer Proprietary Limited has requested of Council a variation to the lease, which is required through legislation to conclude the previous lease and create a new lease to add a small area of land outside of that business premises. It's an area at the front that is required to be included in the lease so that the business can continue to trade and to serve their food and beverages into that area. The business has been in Halls Gap for a very long time. Very, very well-respected business, and I think it would be very important that council support that business in this lease reissue. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Greenberger. Councillor Hine.
I second what Councillor Greenberger has just said, but this will also improve the organisational effectiveness, allowing for a greater patron capacity without actually impacting on any other businesses or facilities. So this opportunity will assist a local Halls Gap business actually during a time now that they're facing quite some economic challenges out there. So by us supporting this, this is going to be a benefit to them and the greater community.
So would any other councillor like to speak to the motion?
Yes, I second what these ladies have just said, but most of all, it actually shows that the council are willing to work with small businesses to encourage more business and to be able to highlight the flexibility of us by moving forward and helping small businesses, not just this one here, but it gives the opinion that we are very flexible and we are working to help the community moving forward. Thank you.
Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Greenberger, would you like to sum up?
Nothing further to add. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, just show of hands, those for the motion. Okay, that's carried. So our next agenda item is 10.1, the Grampians fires. And I'm happy to move that recommendation. So a notice of motion was lodged by myself on Tuesday the 21st of January 2025. In accordance with section 43 Council's governance rules, the notice of motion was received and approved by the Chief Executive Officer to be included in the 3rd of February 2025 Council meeting agenda today. So the recommendation is that Council resolves to acknowledge and extend its sincere thanks to all the individuals, groups and organisations that provided invaluable assistance and support during and after the recent Grampians fires. This includes the tireless efforts of the firefighters, emergency services, volunteers, local businesses, community groups, council staff and all others who work to protect our community, provide aid and assist with recovery efforts. So can I just have somebody to second that recommendation?
Yes, Mayor, I'm happy to second that recommendation.
So on Tuesday, 17th December 2024, a fire was ignited in the Grampians National Park due to a lightning strike. Over the weeks that followed, the fire posed a significant threat to several townships within our region, including Pomonal, Moyson, Dunkeld and Halls Gap. This necessitated the evacuation of many residents throughout our shire. During the Christmas and New Year period, a major firefighting operation took place, involving at times 25 aircraft, including water bombers, spotter planes, over 100 fire trucks, 30 heavy machinery units dedicated to clearing paths and creating fire breaks. More than 600 personnel were on the ground working tirelessly to contain the blaze. Over the Christmas period and the New Year period, had 3 weeks of those particular fires, and they gave up their time to come and support us. The fire has currently burned almost 77,000 hectares with a perimeter of 413 kilometres. So since this report, there has been another fire, and there is a fire still currently burning in the Grampians. But I just wanting to thank our local community. Council and the community are acutely aware that the situations could have been a lot worse without the collaborative efforts and skill and determination of all the agencies involved. They've been instrumental in minimising the damage, particularly in saving properties, including the townships of Halls Gap. Council also extends its deepest appreciation to the agencies, local government staff members and council staff that have supported the operation of the Relief Centre and the Incident Control Centre. And we did make up a list of all the agencies, people that have been in and helped support over the last month of the fires, and the list is quite extensive. So I was going to thank everyone individually, but it just keeps growing, the list. So, from the CFA, obviously the Parks Victoria, Victoria Police, the ambulance, emergency recovery, Salvation Army, sick volunteers, the local governments have provided support, Ararat Rural City Council, Southern Grampians Shire Council, Horsham Rural City Council, Yarriambiack Shire Council, Highmark Shire Council, West Rimmer Shire Council, City of Ballarat. The list is fairly extensive, and not only support these people, but the amount of people that have reached out to me, mayors, state government, members of parliament, just checking on us, making sure we're okay. I really do appreciate people's just thinking of us and thinking of how we're travelling and making sure that we are okay. So Council would like to recognise with overwhelming gratitude and appreciation the tremendous collective efforts of all those involved in responding to this crisis. The exceptional teamwork and coordination displayed by all agencies, volunteers, groups and personnel have been vital in managing this emergency. Council extends its heartfelt thanks to all who have contributed to the response and recovery efforts. And on behalf of Council, we just want to say a big thank you to all the volunteers and all the people that have been involved in supporting and helping us over the past few weeks. So Councillor High, would you like to say anything?
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the opportunity to speak, especially since this is my hometown, and it's a challenging time for the town of Halls Gap, and I recognise this challenging fire event is also impacting a far greater region than just our beautiful little small Halls Gap. And during this time, I have been privileged to witness the best in human behaviour. Examples, and there are so many, so I can't name them all, but businesses opening their doors instantly, even when the majority of the residents had evacuated. They kept their doors open to service all those personnel who were coming through and flooding through the doors. Many of those businesses were feeding the emergency services off their own bat, just lunches and dinners instantly without being asked to or paid for. And then there are community members who have volunteered their time to help their neighbours move items, animals, or clean up, or just be there and be supportive. There are so many individuals and community members acting independently or together that, you know, I can't list them all on everything that they've done, but as an example, an amazing community barbecue was put on the 31st of December with 24-hour notice. A pool party, yoga, art therapy, just to name a few. And although I hope I've probably missed some associations, but a special mention and thanks to the Halls Gap Neighbourhood House, the Kitchen Cabinet, you know who you are, the Community Association, of course, the Snappy Gappians. And I'm sure there's a few more that I've missed, and I apologise, but thank you from me to all those people who have reached out to me also during that time, offering a place to stay or just some sort of form of support and to check in. I also wish to acknowledge that given the fact that we are all here today, there are still, though, humans as we speak right now in this horrible heat, fighting those fires right at this moment. There are still 3 fires burning, and you know, they're there protecting our cultural, physical and environmental assets right at this moment, and I want to acknowledge that and thank them. Thank you, Mayor.
So would any other councillor like to speak to the motion?
Thanks, Mrs Mayor.
Councillor Blake.
I first want to acknowledge the general public for turning up today. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate that. But I just wanted to start by expressing our sincere thanks to the volunteers and the firefighters for their hard work and dedication. It's been truly inspiring to see everyone coming together in these tough times. I also want to recognise the staff of the Northern Grampians Shire and the councillors for their ongoing support to those affected by the fire. The help they've given to small business owners has brought comfort and reassurance that we are all on their side. The people of the Grampians can trust that we are committed to supporting them both now and in the future. Business owners and homeowners are learning more about how to prepare for situations like this, as the relief centre installed following the fires in February. We saw that people are better prepared for the next time. The community support for each other has been incredible. I want to mention a couple of people. Narissa and Jake, who organised a Christmas at Caddo Park. It's moments like these that this reminds us how special and supportive the community truly is. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to speak in favour of the motion. Until about 12 months ago, I was a member of the Northern Grampians Shire Council MEMSI, Municipal Emergency Management Planning Committee. And I want to reassure the community that I've actually received a very good insight into the work that council officers do behind the scenes to prepare for emergencies such as this. Quarterly meetings are held which involve all emergency services: police, CFA, Ambulance Victoria, SCS, DFFH, Department of Families, Fairness and Housing, DECA, Department of Energy, Environment and Climate Action, and many more all send representatives to those meetings. These meetings are instrumental in ensuring that we are exceptionally well prepared to respond to emergencies such that we have seen. I believe the general public in our municipality can be very confident that in the event of emergencies, Northern Grampians Shire Council is very well prepared, and in collaboration with all relevant services, both response and recovery efforts are the very best in the state. So in supporting this motion of acknowledgement and thanks, I wish to especially mention Northern Grampians Shire Council staff, David and Kelly in particular, who do an excellent job in managing our MEMSI plan to ensure our community are as safe as possible in the event of any kind of emergency.
Thank you. Any other councillor like to talk? Okay. Yeah, Councillor Probst. Yep. Sorry.
Being at the other end of the Shire, I didn't have first-hand involvement, but it just brings to fore the fact that living in these small community towns, the community and the volunteers and the time that everyone puts in, and just seeing some of the daily updates with the work that goes into it, like it's not just firefighters, it was food, accommodation. Now we're going to have to move on with supporting the businesses who have been affected, and it's, I think one of the nicest things about living in the country is that community support that everyone gives to each other. So well done to everyone involved.
Thank you. No other councillor wishes to speak. I'd just like to sum up, just say it's been an emotional, trying time for a lot of people, and we appreciate your support, and your support has been invaluable. All volunteers in all aspects of everything in the last few weeks. So thank you. I just have a motion if those in favour. Okay, so that is carried. So we now move on to item 11, reports from councillors and committees. So we have one committee, the Queen Mary Botanic Garden Advisory Group minutes, and they've been provided to councillors to read, and we also have our councillor reports as well. So I just thought I might start with Councillor Greenberger.
Thank you, Mayor. I know the last time we met as council was in December, and that seems a very long time ago, and there's been a lot happening. But I want to refer back to events in December because I think there are some things worth mentioning that are particularly worth noting for council and also the community. At the invitation of Tanya Walter, a farmer from Marnoo, I attended a gathering at the Marnoo Hall, which was an initiative of Dr. Anne Webster as part of her community listening road trips. Locals gathered to discuss the VNI West transmission line project and renewable energy projects more generally. It was a passionate but a very respectful discussion, and most informative to me on this, what will continue to be for some time a challenging issue for the whole community. Secondly, Stawell Secondary College had a presentation afternoon on the 6th of December. It was my honour to attend to represent Northern Grampians Shire Council. Principal Murray Hart spoke very proudly of his school's achievements for the year. Of particular note was how hard all of the school community had worked to get the message out that young people can get an excellent education in Stawell. He is very pleased to report that Year 7 enrolments next year have risen from 52 in 2024 to 83 this year. The other takeaway for me was how wonderfully multicultural the school community now is, and I guess by implication our community in general, with young people getting awards from many different cultural backgrounds. Alumni Kim Minton-Lane, manager of Supple, and Alyssa Jess, guest speakers, spoke exceptionally well about their positive educational experiences at Stawell Secondary College and their journey to the careers of their choice now. We councillors attended a business after our sessions on the 9th of December. We chatted to a whole range of business proprietors, and the Stawell Gold Mine Managing Director spoke very positively about the future of the mine and was very positive and reassuring to us all. I've attended 2 Northern Grampians Shire Council transmission forums, both of them online. This is an initiative of our CEO, Brent McAllister, who's brought together a whole lot of people connected with the transmission project. This is a regular meeting, and each time we are informed of an update of what's happening with the VNI West project. Stawell Harness Racing Club Grants Committee, which is a committee that I've been nominated for on behalf of Council. They made grants of approximately $20,000 to various applicants. These applicants ranged from sporting groups, schools, local halls, Project Platypus Plant Out, and the stall show. This is only part of that organisation's community contributions. Funds are also spent on providing community initiatives in addition to these grant programs. Also, I've attended 2 peak body online events, ALGWA celebrating the election result and the Municipal Association of Victoria welcome and introduction to councillors on the 19th of December. Both informative and very helpful. And then it was Christmas and holidays, but sadly for so many of our local Halls Gap and district people, first responders and Northern Grampians Shire staff, the dreadful bushfires broke out. And as a councillor, my role was fairly small, but hats off to Mayor Karen and Councillor Justine and Director Justine for the enormous amount of work that they did over this very difficult period. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, I've traditionally come very well underprepared again today. Unlike Councillor Greenberg, she writes everything down, and I'm pretty amazed by that. But no, it's been a testing time over Christmas, and the community spirit has been incredible. Where have I been more? Where haven't I been? I've been everywhere. But most importantly is knowing that now that we're back here, the support that we've had from senior councillors such as Murray Emerson and even our mayor. It's just, I just noticed that when we hit the ground running, I never expected to have such a, like it just went bang with the fires and that, but what I did notice is the support that we got within this inner circle to therefore know that you can comfortably go and make a wider effect in the community, knowing that you've got support from your councillors and Lady Mayor. Thank you.
Sorry, Councillor Hyde.
Thank you. So it has been a busy time since our last meeting. I'm going to give you a little summary, but I'm not going to mention everything because the list is quite extensive. But let's go back to the start of December. And on the 4th of December, I attended with Councillor Greenberger the Thrive 50 Christmas morning tea, which was at the Store Library. And also that night, the Halls Gap Residents and Ratepayers Association meeting, to which they addressed multiple issues, small issues, some which we were able to, with the help of Trenton and his team, rectify within days. On the 6th of December, myself and the Mayor were down in Melbourne for mandatory training, and again on the 12th and 13th of December, the Mayor and myself were down in Melbourne for mandatory training. On the 8th of December, I attended the Great Western Futures Dinner in the Great Western Reserve. Fabulous food, brilliant overview of the year and of what's to come, and I'm very excited to be working with Great Western Community in 2025. The 18th of December, I was at the Halls Gap DECA Committee of Management, which oversees a good portion of the land space in Halls Gap, where those include areas such as the cricket oval, the park, the pool and so forth. So our ongoing monthly meetings there are very important. Then, of course, most of you will know that on the 20th of December, myself, along with majority of the residents in Halls Gap, evacuated Halls Gap, and we did return, I think it was on the 27th or 28th, it was all a bit blurry, but somewhere around there a week later. But during that time frame, I was in daily communications with not only the Mayor, Northern Grampians CEO and other directors in regards to the fire situation, and I very much appreciate those daily catch-ups during that time. On the 31st of December, I did attend the community barbecue that the local residents put on for the emergency services and the local community, as of course that time Halls Gap was closed to anybody else other than residents and emergency services. And I think there was 130 people who attended that event, which was community-led, and I thank Northern Grampians Shire for helping fund that event in a very, very short time frame. Between the 2nd of January and somewhere middle of January, I did meet with the Minister for Small Business, the Minister for Local Government, the Upper House MP, the Senator Perrin Davey, Member for Wannon Dan Tehan, and of course our own Member for Mallee, Anne Webster, multiple times. And of course we had Leader of the Opposition, Peter Dutton, join us for a few hours out there in Halls Gap and took the time to have a closed meeting with business owners for just over an hour, where he listened to our local community business owners directly about the impacts of where we're at and what were the problems we're going to face moving forward. Unfortunately, these fires have brought several additional short and long-term problems that we are trying to address that are very important for our economic sustainability. And I have met multiple times with multiple business owners during this whole period, listening to what they've had to say, recording what they've had to say, and taking that away. January 26, of course, participated in the beautiful Australia Day ceremonies at St Arnaud, Marnoon and Stawell. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Probst.
I guess when I first started, one of the things I was really enjoying was learning the ropes of how everything works and what you see go on behind the scenes. So one of the first committees I went on to was the Audit and Risk Committee, which I must admit I was a little bit nervous about attending, thinking numbers would be all a bit overwhelming. But it was actually one of the best meetings I've been to, because not only was it figures, but it was the risks and seeing the work that goes on behind the scenes on how the council staff manage the various things that come up was really better than I expected. I've attended a few local events on the northern end of the council, so the Queen Mary Gardens, and they're all excited about getting a xylophone in the gardens, and I'm quite looking forward to having a play on that as well. There are a few Christmas functions, carols, Rotary Christmas break-up cinema, the high school speech night, and they also had an opening of their new facilities during this week, a $10 million upgrade of their facilities, so it's really quite exciting to see facilities to match the dedication of the teachers. We had a site visit to the new kinder up at the primary school, and then this week as well, an unofficial physical completion of it, and it's really lovely to see the building almost ready to be used, and to see the thought that had gone into the design of the landscaping and the equipment in it as well. Of a certain age, we're used to bright, colourful plastic things for our kids. This is all really quite serene, so that the kids aren't overstimulated. And it really led the flow from the building to the veranda to the landscaping and the water features and the little stage was really quite brilliant to see that all come to fruition after a long and arduous journey. Australia Day was really quite fun. St Arnaud and Marnoon and Stuart Mill, and again it just highlights the hours and the volunteer time that people in the community put in, because without that our communities just wouldn't function like they do. Scan meetings, Scan's a very proactive group, and they're very active at the moment. They always have lots of good ideas on things that can be tweaked and improved. But probably the most exciting one, other than the Public Risk Committee, was the a meeting we had with Teddington this week. So there were about 15 people there from Parks Victoria with the new acting CEO. Grampians Water was there with their CEO and the chair of their board. We had 3 community members and representatives from council and staff there. And this has been going on for a long time. Parks decided to decommission the Teddington Res a few years ago, and since then they've just stuck their heels in and have not agreed to look at any other options. But talking at this meeting during the week, they were very open, and they've actually already talked about getting an updated consultant's report on the different options. So there was a report from 5 years ago maybe, that had 5 different options in it, which did not suggest decommissioning as a preferred option, but that was what Parks Victoria went with. It's really exciting that they're now reassessing that. They're going to update that report and look at the options for retaining water in Teddington. And that's a very exciting move in the right direction for our Teddington water supply, Teddington Recreational Reserve. That's it.
Thank you. Councillor Emerson.
Yeah, thanks. It's always good to be last because then you've everything's already been spoken about. But in addition to a lot of the meetings that everybody else has attended, a lot of my focus since the election time is getting around St Arnaud and getting a little bit with my fellow councillor over there in the Carr Award to make sure we're servicing the needs of that community. But a lot of time in January has been taken up with the Municipal Association of Victoria, representing 10 councils in Western Victoria in relation to our housing shortage, our sustainability, our insurance, which local government insurance is going up astronomically. But most of the time, I think in the last, other than the general meetings that we go to, most of the time in the last 3 or 4 weeks has been concentrated on the 2025 Power Core Stall Gift, which is a great event now, one of the biggest events that we run. Of course, it takes a fair bit of organisation and a fair bit of money, so a lot of time's been going into that. It's progressing well. I think we're going to run, there's a few things I can't tell you just yet because they're confidential, but I think we're going to run the best stall gift ever in 2025, so it's taken up a fair bit of my time.
Thank you. So it seems like a long time ago that our last council meeting was, and I have quite a lot here, so I'll try not to double up on what other councillors have said. Friday 31st, I also met with Martha Haylett, the MP, the modular visit at St Arnaud, and I agree with what Councillor Probe said. A credit to our town, St Arnaud. It's beautiful, and I think it'll be well utilised. Also went to the St Arnaud Secondary College official opening, 150-year celebration, and yeah, just amazing. And once again, incredible. You walk through some of the new buildings, they're totally fit for purpose. They sound so quiet and they're so serene, aren't they? You can't hear anyone talking outside, yelling, screaming, like it's very relaxed. The buildings are just amazing. They're a real credit to the secondary college, and well done. I think they've had a few hurdles, but they've got there. So Wednesday, also went to meeting Northern Grampians Shire and Parks Victoria, GW and Water to discuss the proposal, decommissioning Upper Teddington Reservoir. It was a great meeting, and there'll be more to come in this space, but definitely travelling in the right direction. Australia Day celebrations, St Arnaud, Manu, Stall, St Arnaud and Stall and Manu. Like everywhere I went, I had so many people coming up to me and saying, I'm so glad that I came today. They really enjoyed the way that, people spoke, the events, the way they were run. In St Arnaud, I actually had one gentleman come up and say to me that I wasn't going to come to Australia Day in St Arnaud, but he said, I'm so glad I did. And that was what I heard from most of the people that were in attendance. They really enjoyed the Australia Day celebrations. And well done to all the people that were awarded on that day. Went to the Great Western Races on Saturday, and was a great crowd, and it was good to see a lot of people getting behind and supporting that event. It was great weather and a really good event. Went to the Stall Gift Event Management Board meeting with Councillor Emerson, and I agree, this year's shaping up to be one of the best stall gift events we've had. There's a lot happening in that space, and looking forward to that in Easter. Friday the 17th, early morning start in Hallsgap. I had an ACE radio interview about the fires, and I have had a lot of interviews and about the fires over the last few weeks. Wednesday the 15th was also in attendance to meet the Honourable Peter Dutton MP, Hallsgap visit with Dr Anne Webster. And we had businesses come and lots of open conversations about the impact of the fires. And look, I would just like to thank Anne for her work. She's been over backwards to reach out to businesses and to provide support and give us information that we have needed and required. And she's just been really good. It's just a phone call away, and she's been amazing. Went to the Sonali Christmas parade procession on the Friday night, which seems like an eternity ago, but what a great night it was, wasn't it? And so many people, it was just amazing. Just the crowds in St Arnaud, the whole street's just lined up with people supporting their procession, throwing out lollies, a lot of fun. It was a great night. I also went to the mandatory training with the MAV in Melbourne, and we had 2 days there. That was just invaluable. Given what's happened and where we've gone to in the last few weeks, it was just really gave us some valuable information and put us in a really good place, and I really did enjoy that training. After the training, I came home to Stawell and went to the Christmas carols in Stawell. Great attendance, just a great community event, and I was really impressed with the way it was run and the people that were getting up and singing and the carols. It was just a lot of fun. So I've been to the Stawell Primary School graduation awards night, the Stawell Secondary College presentation evening, and both of them just so important, events like that, to celebrate all the hard work that the children do put in to being the best that they can be, and really impressed with both those events. Also went to the VLG Mayoral Leadership Program, the one-day training in Melbourne. Once again, it was great. Met a lot of people, didn't we? It was a great connecting, great networking, and we had a lot of really good, interesting conversations, which I really did appreciate. I've been to an Audit and Risk Committee meeting. Just been quite busy generally in the last few weeks. Look, I would also like to reach out and just thank our CEO and Justine Kingham and staff for helping, assisting with the fires. And it's so nice, and even Justine, and the other councillors, just to touch base. You've made sure that I'm where I need to be, that I'm okay, and I really appreciate that. So, thank you. It's been quite busy, But and thanks again for all the messages and phone calls from everybody and the support from everyone and the staff over the last few weeks. A lot of phone conversations. I've even had a phone call from Sam Austin, the Governor-General of Australia, so it's not every day that you get to speak to Her Excellency, and she was fantastic, just wanting to reach out, know what she could do to help, to assist. And I have been writing letters to members of Parliament. We have met a lot of, as Justine Hyde said, the members of Parliament that have visited Hallsgap. I want to thank them. It's important that they are on the ground talking to businesses, understanding the situation, which I think they do. And they put a lot of time and effort into making sure that they have followed up and got back to us. And it's great to have that support generally. So that's my report. So I just need a motion that the reports from councillors and committees be received.
You're happy to move a motion that the reports be noted?
Thank you, Councillor
Happy
Emerson.
to second it, Lady Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Blake. Just a show of hands to show that we are happy to move that motion. Okay, so our next item on the agenda is public question time. Oh, sorry, urgent business. If we have any urgent business, which I don't think we have. Okay, so public question time. So public question time enables members of the public to submit questions to council. So we have some questions without notice and some questions with notice. So a person can ask a maximum of 3 questions at any one meeting, and the presentation of each question should not exceed 2 minutes. And then, if necessary, they may provide a brief background to the question, 30 to 50 seconds. So questions without notice will be taken on notice unless the chair determines a response can be provided at the meeting. So we have 3 questions without notice, and I think we might need to respond in a written form. One of them has been a question before to council, and we have submitted a response. The other one, I think, we just need to look at the question and understand it and provide a question in writing. So I'm happy to accept the question, public question time from Ross Hudson. You have, Ross is here. If you would like to come up and read your 3 questions with notice, and just remind you that each question shall not exceed 2 minutes, and you have 30 to 50 seconds to provide a very brief background to your questions.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that, and thank you to everyone for your reports and your obvious hard work since I met you back in December. It's been a very trying time, obviously, for both the community and people that respond in various ways to deal with circumstances that we've had. In terms of my questions, the first one refers to the St Arnaud Tourism Strategy and Action Plan 2022 to 2032. I'll refer to that as the SAT-SAP. I believe the plan was adopted by Council in July 2022 and was produced through the engagement of a Western Australian consultancy firm who conducted community consultations, various forms of research, and engaged in briefings and reporting with Council and other sources of expertise over a 6-month period before the final plan was adopted. The SAT-SAP lists 8 specific action plans with assigned task, responsibility and short-term, medium-term and long-term prioritising for the progress and completion of tasks and therefore each action plan. The short-term period was the 2022 to 2024. On page 8 of the SAT-SAP is the statement that specifically the recommendations of the SAT-SAP align with the direction identified in the Northern Grampians Economic Development Strategy objectives. On page 5 of the SAT-SAP, it states, the Northern Grampians Shire objective for the project are to diversify Northern Grampians visitor offering to reduce impact of national park closures following fire events, to establish a shared vision of St Arnaud and surrounds visitor economy and enable the coordinated delivery of key actions, to increase the competitiveness of St Arnaud as a visitor destination and enable strong promotion of by leveraging of existing opportunities, to grow jobs and visitor spend in Northern Grampians, to unlock the facilities, opportunities for private sector investment in the tourism offering. Fortunately, my second and third question are a lot shorter. With due respect to those persons and enterprises affected by recent and current serious bushfire events, the first of the aforementioned objectives could not be more important, relevant and potentially profound since December 2024, but it appears we are not in a position to achieve the objective currently. As a member of St Arnaud, I am concerned about the lack of continuous and consistent proactive practical leadership in Northern Grampians Shire Council to provide the community engagement and involvement necessary, as well as the reporting, brackets communication, in this case to sufficiently and adequately progress the tasks in the 8 action plans detailed in the SAT. I'm not aware of any methodical public reporting on the progress of implementing the action plan short-term tasks to 2024 and specifically what has been achieved. My observations and impression is that either little has been completed or it has been unsuccessful. The question specifically is, please advise what Council has achieved for each short-term task that was to be completed by 2024 in the 8 action plans of the SAT, and how successful has it been so far achieving the Northern Grampians Shire Council objectives listed on page 5 of the SAT. In answering the question, for anything that was not completed by 2024, please explain why it has not been achieved and what the specific revised completion date is. In answering the question, please also substantiate the content to which any objective has been, the extent to which any objective has been achieved to date, and how that has been measured, quantified, and validated.
Okay, so Councillor, Justine Kingham, a director, will give you a response.
Excellent. Thanks, Ross. Thanks for your
Director
question.
Kingham.
It's a great question, and it's really nice to have the opportunity to report on the success. It's not often that we get to celebrate what we deliver outside of our annual council plan. So there's over 30 or so actions in the plan. They've all been reviewed in response, throughout for our annual reporting process. So in July 22, as you mentioned, Council endorsed the St Arnaud Tourism Strategy and Action Plan. And over the past 2 years, Council delivered more than 50% of the short-term actions within the 10-year strategy. So I think that really speaks for itself and shows that there's been wonderful progress on that strategy with very little resources. So the strategy serves, as it says in the document, as a guiding framework for destination development in St Arnaud, and is designed as a living document, allowing budgets, responsibilities and priorities to adapt to changing conditions. As outlined in the SAT strap on page 23, this initial phase focuses on establishing a strategic foundation for all of those initiatives. We'll provide you with a detailed response, because I would be here for a long time reading all of those actions which we've been very focused on delivering. Council's actively integrated the STAT strap, so the St Arnaud Tourism Strategy and Action Plan, into its annual action plan budget, aligning with the objectives that you listed there, Ross, which are obviously in line with Council's plan. So budgeting processes and work, the budget process and work planning undertaken annually has enabled those actions to be incorporated into our annual work plans under those economic development and tourism objectives. So over the past 2 years, as I mentioned, Council's worked closely with local community stakeholders, including the St Arnaud Railway Hub, SCAN, the former Art Space, Solo Art Gateway Committee, auspiced by the St Arnaud Community Resource Centre and the wider community, to successfully implement over 50% of the short-term actions outlined in the plan. This includes the development of the St Arnaud Place brand work, which has been fabulous and really well, taken under the community's wing as it was developed so closely with the community. The launch of that new tourism marketing platform, the integration of the St Arnaud into the regional Silo Art Trail. And so it's officially part of the Silo Art Trail, which has meant that there's been an enhanced visitor information in relation to St Arnaud's role in that. We've enhanced visitor services and increased our number of volunteers in that space, and delivered new promotional assets for local businesses and attractions. I'm summarising a lot of work, and we'll provide that in detail. Council's also introduced visitor data tracking, upgraded digital contact that feeds into our regional Visit Grampians platform, and also endorsed our wayfinding strategy to improve access and the visitor engagement. And the new wayfinding strategy, as this strategy is, will form as a reference document to future council investment when it comes to signage. All this work becomes a reference document and is always subject to resources and funding, of course. So while significant progress has been made, we acknowledge that There are key initiatives still to be delivered, but we've got 2 years, so we're going pretty well, and the document will continue to serve as a key reference in the development of the future council plan. But of course, that will be subject to the future council plan and what comes out of the engagement. So we'll provide, as I said, a detailed response to the question. And yes, I'd like to congratulate the community on their involvement in delivering this work. It has, it's a long journey building up the community's tourism offering, and these things don't happen overnight, and often the investment we make now isn't realised, until years down the track, but it's been a great result. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So Ross, your next question, please.
Yeah. If my memory hasn't failed me, I believe the 2024-2025 Northern Grampians Shire Council budget includes an allocation of some $430,000 for the installation of a pedestrian crossing across the St Arnott Market Square car park. I presume it is because of a reference to the establishment of a pedestrian walkway in the Northern Grampians Shire Council Market Square Master Plan 2019. What research and analysis was conducted to verify it as a priority need to warrant the expenditure, and particularly in preference to other undelivered St Arnott public infrastructure needs at Market Square highlighted in the 2019 Master Plan, including the key elements recommended for the senior play and skate park upgrade, such as the installation of a basketball facility and improvement to the skating area. How has the cost of the crossing been established? Where is the funding sourced from for it? And when is the installation scheduled to commence?
Okay, thank you, Ross. So our Director, Trenton Fithall, will give you a response.
Yeah, thanks, Ross, and your memory hasn't failed you. You've done well. The proposed pedestrian crossing is a project that has come from the master plan that you reference. Council used the St Arnott Civic Precinct Plan as its initiating strategy in developing that master plan. Council engaged with community in the development of the master plan, and we used several strategies when we created it. This include pre-design engagement in the form of surveys, working face-to-face with focus groups, and even undertook some work with children up at the schools. We did on-site tours with community members, and once the plan was both in preliminary concept stage and draft stage, we sought comment from the broader community when we did so. The pedestrian circulation and flow paths were determined based on physical evidence and feedback that we sought. It was determined that other direct users of the car park pedestrians naturally flow across the car park from the town hall surrounds to the park, and vice versa. Concerns were raised about the safety of access in and around the car park, specifically for children. For note, these concerns still exist today, and we are often having conversations with users about safety of the car park today. Preliminary design options were created to treat these concerns, and the pedestrian walkways were well supported due to the traffic calming that it created and the pedestrian refuge that the design created. Detailed design will further consider traffic implications as the project progresses. So staging of the plan is what was proposed by the architect at the time and based on the natural sequencing of events. And we also had feedback fed into that process. This was accepted by Council at the time and was adopted. So Council has since delivered stage 1 and 2 of the master plan, and as the plan is rolled out, Council received feedback that the senior play and the skate park component of the master plan needed further review with points of concern, and we expect to revisit the plan in regards to those areas soon. So in pursuit of the master plan, Council decided to progress the car park treatment and also stage 4 being the public toilet, and based on present funding opportunities, and in doing so we've actually been successful for the grant to deliver the public toilet. The costing of the pedestrian walkway was initially developed by the landscape architect at the time, and council officers have since reviewed that cost of those works using rates that we know based on work we deliver in-house. In accordance with the budget, council officers are pursuing funding opportunities. It's not funded yet, and it's, you'll notice in the budget that it's actually grant dependent. So council officers are pursuing funding opportunities. We don't yet have it. And in particular, the Victorian Government's Safe Local Road and Street program is a project which we are specifically working towards. And it is a program that is specific to local government and is designed to deliver safe local roads. So however, the funding is not yet confirmed, as I've said, and therefore the project it has no start date until funding becomes available.
Thank you, Trenton. So Ross, your third question?
Director Fithel, question?
Is there a question? You have another question?
I do, yes. I thought you were going to give me an opportunity outside of the guidelines to question the response, but no, that's
No.
right. I'll write a further question about it. Yes, my question 3 refers to Bullock Shire Council has recently released for community consultation its revised draft governance rules as approved at its December 2024 council meeting. On its website, Bullock Shire advises the draft proposed governance rules have been developed by an external consultant in consultation with council staff with the intent to establish a more contemporary set of rules in line with changes in industry standards. At a glance, the summary of key changes provided in the information available for public consultation and feedback contains changes to items that are currently included in the Northern Grampians Shire Council governance rules. I understand that Bullock Shire is or was recently operating with a monitor overseeing operations who was appointed by the Minister for Local Government, last year. Are Northern Grampians Shire councillors each aware of these governance rules being revised by Bullock Shire, and what is planned by this new council to revise and ensure its rules are in line with changes to industry standards and it is fit for purpose to address the current expectations and requirements of the Northern Grampians Shire community now and in the next 4 years?
Okay, thank you, Ross. So our Director Vaughan Williams will give you a response.
Yeah, hi. It's my understanding that in the case of Bullock, they hadn't reviewed their meeting procedures local laws, which was under the previous Act, and they sort of hadn't been reviewed for a while. At Northern Grampians Shire, we reviewed ours, and they're taking the new form, which is the governance rules that was adopted in September 22, and so ours are current. And further to that, under a proposal put forward by Local Government Victoria, they're wanting to create model governance rules across the state, and so we're going to be part of that process. And any reforms that come out of that will go through the appropriate community consultation processes as part of the development. The hope is that that will all be done, like across the state, a standardised model by the end of this year.
Thank you. Okay, so that concludes our public question time. I just want to bring to Okay, so just bringing to your attention that the Council will launch Council Plan Engagement process. So Council is about to embark on the next iteration of our 4-year planning cycle, which features strategic goals and objectives for our community. So we have these little QR codes on the back of these, and we'll be delivering these out. So all the councillors have these. So they're part of our community engagement process, which is starting today. We hope you'll take part of this process with us and provide us the voice that can help shape the future for our region and services we provide within it. the formulation, the 2025-2025 Council Plan accompanying Municipal Health and Wellbeing Plan is critical to providing a clear direction for Council regarding what our community would like achieved over that period. We can't do it alone. We want your involvement. So you'll see the councillors around with these. They'll be handing them out. So there's a QR code on the back, and yeah, please fill out the questionnaires and give us your information so that we can help form our priorities for the next 4 years. So just to clarify that the questions without notice forms that were submitted today, we will provide answers to you in writing. So just accepting the questions with notice, with Ross Hudson had put in, and he did answer those questions. The questions without notice, you will all get a response. Sometimes we just need a little bit of time to think about the response that we want to give to you, and I think it's better off if it's in writing and that they're adequate responses. So you will get responses. You will all get responses to your questions without notice in writing. So we now will close.
We actually asked the questions.
Sorry.
I was that question in last year, in May, about the CCTV at the skate park. Council was going to get back to you, or Grampians Shire.
Okay, Jane, if you want to get up and... yeah, just I thought we had got back to you. I thought we had given you a response. Okay, so I'm sorry. So, yeah, look, we'll try and get a response back to you then. Yeah, no, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, look, I can make sure you get a response, so I do apologise. And you'll get a response. So it's due with the Stawell Skate Park, and I knew that you had submitted a previous question in line with what you've got today, and I wasn't aware that you didn't have a response. So, yeah, we'll get a response back to you. So that's the closure of our meeting pursuant to Section 662A of the Local Government Act. We're now going to go into closed meeting. So I just need a resolution that the meeting being closed pursuant to Section 66 of the Local Government Act 2020 to consider item 14.1 in closed council as it deals with confidential information as detailed in Section 3.1 of the Local Government Act. So I need someone to move that we go into closed council.
I can move that, Mayor.
Somebody to second?
You've got to move the motion. You can't just agree to it.
Questions about notice should be answered, should they?
I'll just bring to the attention of the Mayor, and I'm sure you already know, public question time is not a time for debate. The Local Government Act clearly says that. We must not debate public question time.
Okay. So you're happy to second the resolution that we go into closed council?
No, I don't know what the resolution is.
I'm happy to move that we go into closed business.
Need someone to second it?
Yes, Mayor, I'm happy to second that motion.
Okay. So, yeah, we don't need to speak to it. So just show of hands that that's carried. So that's, yep, so that's carried. We have...
I'll be speaking against the motion. I'm not clear what the motion is. The procedure under the Local Government Act is we must when we're moving a motion, fellow councillors around the table must know what the motion's about. I know where we're heading because I've done it 100 times before, but I'm not clear of the motion. So I'll be speaking against it and voting against it. I can't do that now. I'm sorry. I can't.
Mayor, what would you... Yep, okay.
I'll bring to the attention of the council group, if you mind switching your mic off. We've got a motion, we've got a second, we've got to deal with it.
Would you?
Yeah,
wish to
Councillor, if you'd like to read out the motion.
Thank you.
Point of order. Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have a motion. We have a seconder. We must debate it and we must deal with it. We can't call for another motion until we've dealt with that motion.
Okay, and so that was carried. So just had to show a hand, and that's.
I don't think we voted on it yet.
Okay. So, Councillor Hyde, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I would like to move that the meeting is closed, pursued under Section 66 of the Local Government Act 2020, to consider an item 11.1 in the closed council as it deals with confidential information as detailed in Section 3/1 of the Local Government Act 2020. Thank you.
Councillor Greenberger, would you like to?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I seconded the motion. My understanding was that Councillor Hyde's motion was that we would go into closed council.
Okay. Would any other councillor like to speak for or against the motion?
Sorry, council procedures are all a bit new to me, so I don't quite know what the process is, but I would like to hear the public questions read out. The rules might say we don't have to debate it now, but I would like to know why they travelled over from St Arnaud to come
And
here.
you'll
what the
get to
question
see
is.
the
But I
public.
would like us to read it. I would like it to be read out now, so we can all hear what it is, so the other people in the public can hear what the question is.
You know,
I
that's
think
fine.
If people make the effort to come
so-
over, we should at least hear their question.
Yep, no, that's fine. So often, so we have questions with notice and questions without notice. And part of the governance rules does say that questions without notice will be taken on notice unless the chair determines a response can be provided at the meeting. So I can determine whether they be dealt with now or later, depending on the questions. And sometimes questions need a little bit more information to be able to give a good answer, a proper answer. So I'm wanting those questions to be a written response to be given, because I think they need a little bit more clarity. So, and that's my determination. So thank you for bringing that up. So we have a resolution, or we have a motion on the table, and so does anyone else want to speak to or for or against the motion? Okay, so you have a Councillor Hyde, did you wish to sum up then?
No need, thank you, Mayor.
Okay, so just a show of hands to support the motion. So sorry, Jack's that for or against? Yep. Okay, so that's carried. So we'll now go into closed motion to deal with confidential.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor.
We'll now go into closed motion.
I'd like to indicate I'm voting against the motion, which is an option you must give me.
Yeah, the motion was carried. Okay, you can vote against it, but the motion was carried. Yep, you can vote against it. Yep, that's fine.
You're being a little bit blasé about this. I'm against the motion and you aren't giving me the opportunity to vote against it before you carry it.
Yep, okay.
The procedure doesn't allow us to do that.
Give you the opportunity to speak for or against it, and you didn't wish to speak, so... Yeah, no, that's fine. Yep.
I want to register my vote as against.
Okay. So we'll do another show of hands. Can we have show of hands for the motion? Against? Okay, that motion's carried. So we'll now move into closed council. Get the Chief Executive Officer to report on the item discussed in closed council.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm glad to report the resolution of the closed council business. Council Resolve 14.1, the Council awards contract C25001, provision of street cleaning services to Lachlan Thomas Eckert, trading as Grampians Facility Services for their submitted lump sum price. Thank you.
Okay, there be no further business. I will declare the meeting closed at 1:55 p.m.